Hey, welcome back to the channel, and today is our Miscellaneous Mondays. So we're going to do a couple of Wordle and Dordle, and maybe a Quordle. I don't have that Quordle set up just yet, but we'll get there if we do. So let's just jump right into it and see what we get for today's Wordle and Dordle. So let's start. No, I do not want to create an account, and I do not want to see advertisements. So, normal, crane. What do we get? Anything. So we do get an A and an E, which is interesting. So there's probably not another vowel, I would have to think. So what can we put in between? It could be like a TRA something, but what goes? Maybe we should figure out what we want to put for the between the A and the E first. ATE is a good. Like that. We couldn't do great. We could do plate. How do I? Okay, I'm just trying to use delete, and that didn't work. So backspace. Plate seems like it's a useful. Yes, it'll get rid of, or it'll give us a T if it's there, and then see if there's a P or an L elsewhere. And we have a P actually, so maybe it's APE. The other option obviously would be something PA, something E. If it was APE, what could it be? Let's see. Shape, it could be shape. S is an excellent letter to use. What if it was PA, something E like that? Again, S would work quite well for SP. But what would go in between the A and the E that we haven't already used? I don't quite know, so let's try shape and see what happens. And shape was correct. There we go. Cool. So that was our Wordle for today. Congratulations. I do not really care to see my stats. Anyway, there was Wordle. Let's get into our Dordle, and let's get this. Well, didn't necessarily want you guys to see those programs, but who cares? There's nothing really worthwhile there to worry about. Anyway, so let's get into our Dordle. Let's start with our crane again. So we got two E's, both of them. Both of the puzzles end in E, which is interesting. But we have nothing else. We're going to have another vowel somewhere, most likely. And it's quite unlikely that you have two different words that end in E but don't have any other vowels. So I think our second pious, which is our normal entry, is actually an excellent way to go, because it's probably going to give us multiple other vowels that we can use, and of course the P and the S are probably quite good options. Wow. Okay, so we do have an O in the first word and an S somewhere, but we have none of those vowels in the second word. So we either have all vowel or all consonants, or we have a Y somewhere in there. Let's look at the first word first, though. What could it be? OSE. What would work? Whose, WHOSE, would work. So that is a possibility. We could also have a double vowel. So it could be goose, GOOSE. I don't know that I want to do double vowels off the bat, though. So would W and yeah, because W, we want to have more. We want to try to find more options on the second one. So doing a double vowel is probably not good. So let's try whose. That'll give us hopefully something else on the right side that we can work with. And it did absolutely nothing. So we know the S is not there. Well, we could do something like stove. We know we have that S. the T and the V. I mean, a T is a good letter. V, not so much, but looking on this right side, we've used a lot of good letters and we don't have much. We don't have anything really except for the E. Let's try stove. Oh, it's not stove. What is that then? Stole, S-T-O-L-E, is probably what it is then. Because nothing else really seems to make sense there. And again, we got nothing else on the right side. So let's let's take a guess on the right side then. Maybe something using an L so we can verify if that is correct. But what can we do that has, well, you know what I didn't think of on the right side? We could very well have double E. In fact, we could technically have a triple E. Although maybe not anymore with the letters that are left over. So it might be a good idea to use an L and two E's and something else to figure, or at least to try to get us some options over there on that second side. What would be a good place to start on that? I don't think EL is a great way to go. Something like, well, no, let's go back on that one. LE. I was going to say latte, but that's a proper noun. Because I also wouldn't mind using the Y, is why I said that. But I can't think of anything that works with that. Is there anything we can do that would just be completely new letters? That's another option. But I think because we've used all of the normal vowels, we might struggle to find something that works there. I mean, there's the very odd words like zilil and stuff like that that we could do, if I could even remember how that one's actually spelled, but the likelihood of that are not good for that getting us anything. So the other thing we could do, what is another thing we could do, I guess, is what I'm trying to figure out. I think I would like to use 3 new letters of some sort. You know, something like blade. Now I know there's clearly no A, and we already know where the E is for that. The other thing we could do bleed. Maybe that would be a good one because it tests our L for the stole, which we think it's going to be anyway. It tests the theory of possibility of 2 E's. It tests 3 new letters, B, L, and D. So those are 3 things with 1 stone. I guess that's probably a good place to, let's give it a go. And there we go. We do have 2 E's and we found a B and an L. That's very interesting. But we did remove the chance of stole, which is interesting. So what is that? Stoat? It could be stoat. Didn't think of the double. I don't think any other letters work there. Stoke. Oh, stoke. I didn't see the K. That could also work. Okay, so now we've got multiple options on the left side I hadn't even thought about. But we did get quite a bit of information on the right side. So we know the right side is B, E. The E has to be in the second position because it can't be here in the third or the fourth. And we already know there's one in the fifth. So it's B-E something, something E. And one of those 2 somethings has to be an L. I mean, is that a usable word? Now we only have 2 guesses left, which is a problem because we have to guess both of them now. So what could this be? It's probably obvious to some people, but it's a little early in the morning for me, and my brain isn't quite ticking. But, what if it's not that? What if it's something like this? Could it? Well, no. I was gonna say, well, it could be Bell, couldn't it? That's not how you spell. It is how you spell Bell. Okay. So this could be a double E and a double L. The problem with this is, if it is Bell, it doesn't tell us what the first one is. But I really can't think of anything better here. So we're going to do Bell. It is Bell. So now we have to guess what we want to do here. Do we do Stoat? Do we do Stoke? I think Stoke would probably be the more likely answer. But it could easily be Stoat. And there's probably something else there that I'm not seeing that it could be as well. Let's try Stoke. I mean, it's a 50-50 in my mind, so yeah, he was Stoke. Okay, I got it. Whew. That was a interesting one. Let's look up the let's pull up the Quordle. That's good enough. Okay, let's do this one real quick. Or try to get through it quick, I should say. So Crane, we got our C. Let's do Pious as well. We'll do two-word start. Because we didn't get a ton. So we've got what do we have on any of these? Is any of these really super useful? Now the third one, I'm calling this 1, this 2, this 3, this 4, just for reference. The third one we have 3 letters. One is a given, is a C. The second one we have 3 letters. One is none of them are given, and the other 2, 1 and 4, both have 2 letters with 1 given. Now, we've used all of our vowels except for possibilities of Ys. So is it possible we have like a C value vowel like that? Now I would say something like chuff. I'm looking at the third one. Excuse me. But obviously we need to have a P in here somewhere. It could be something like chump. That would fit. It would give us 2 new consonants to work with. I think that's a good yep, there we go, chump. Okay, awesome. Hey, and we got quite a bit of information up there in number 2. So we have UMP at the end. We have to use an AS, excuse me, so it's probably something like stump. Now, is there anything else it could be? Could be slump. Which one do I prefer? I mean, T is a better letter than L typically. So I think we're going to try stump. I mean, it doesn't do anything for us on the other 2. Or do we want to do stump yet? Maybe we want to try something on the other ones. And maybe that will come in and help us on number 2. So on number 1, what do we have? We've got a given U and we've got an A and an M. That could go where? Now the A, I mean, the A doesn't seem like it's going to go last. It could, but I don't feel like it is. So in this instance, it feels like it's going to be consonant, vowel, consonant, that sort of thing. So in that way, it would be like this. But I'm sure there's tons of things that could go in this type of format. But what would those be? Now we could, of course, do a whole new word, as many new letters as possible to try to work out some of these things. Would that be a good idea? Like we could do something like blunt, B-L-U-N-T. The U is essentially useless for us because we already know in the words that we have used where they go. So it's not like I really need to do anything to try to find where a U goes. And this does give us 4. Oh no, it doesn't give us 4 new. I already used the N. Oh, I thought I didn't use the N. Let me move back. I thought I had 4 different vowels or new letters there, but I did not. Is there something else that we can use? Just trying to see anything. No, I'm not really coming up with much is the problem. With the letters remaining. Just trying to create a whole new word. I know clearly I'm going to have to use either a vowel or find a word that has a Y in it that doesn't have another vowel. But what those are, I'm not seeing it. So we could go back and say, you know, there is blunt. The N would be worthless in that position. We could do something like glade. The A would be worthless in that position. And we know there's no E, so that would just be G, L, and D trying. We could do... I mean, we could do something like bite, B-Y-T-E, to see if there's any Y's anywhere. But that does not long enough. What am I talking about? We could do bites, I guess, with an S at the end, but then again, I don't know if they accept plurals like that in these puzzles. And it would be a worthless S, and it would be a worthless E. So what do we want to do? I don't necessarily like G, so glade isn't the greatest. Let's do blunt. It was the first thing I thought of, and it's not perfect, but it's going to give us some options at least. And it did give us an L. So we know that the number 2 is slump. So we got the S is the only one that we haven't figured out where it goes, and there's only one place left, so we might as well just put it in and get it done. Now, what else did blunt do? It gave us a T in number 1. We know there is a T in there somewhere. We just don't know where exactly. So in that one, we've got T, M, and A. We've got a place somewhere. What kind of configurations would work there? I mean, what would go at the end? I guess it could be the M, or it could be some other... Like if we did this, I don't think there's any word that fits that. Same if you switch the T and the M. So it seemed like there would be something like that. How about datum? That uses a new letter, the D. It puts the A in a possible position, puts a T in a possible position, and puts an M in a possible position. I like that. Let's do a datum. And it is datum. Good, good, good. Now, we've gotten almost nothing down on the number 4 so far. And we do know there's an O, and we know there's an L and an N somewhere. The locations of our L and N guesses have all been the same, so it's not super useful. So, what is this? going to be... Now, how many guesses? It's hard to see. I think we've got 3 guesses left. Oh, I can see it better on the other screen. Yeah, there's 3 guesses left. It's a little on this screen that you're all seeing, at least what I see. It's a bit lighter than it is on my other capturing screen, or my other capture screen, so it's a little harder to read here, but it still works out quite fine. So, what can this last word be? Can it... It would seem the couple of options are we could have a double O, and it could be an O with the vowel or a consonant in between the O's, or it could be an OO, which would seem like a more possible option, or it could just be consonant, consonant, O, consonant, consonant. Now, do we have anything left to be able to do something like that? And again, we haven't ruled out any double letters from anything, I don't believe. So, if it was consonant, consonant, what the heck could it be? I don't see anything that really looks good in that condition. So what I'm feeling like is most possible is something like this. Loony, is that a word spelled that way? It is, but it can't be, the N can't be in that position, so that's not good. And I couldn't think of another way to do this where you'd have another consonant before you get to an N like that. So what if there was an N? And it would have to be something like that, but that doesn't seem right either. What about something along these lines? The X is just a holder. Or, because every word I'm thinking of puts either the L second or the N fourth. It could be Knoll. In that they don't take Knoll? That's a word. Oh, that's BS. Knoll is a word. I'm almost positive of it. X-N-O-L-X. Put that in again just so I can look at it for a little bit longer. I don't see anything there other than Knoll, which I thought was a perfectly valid word. So if that doesn't work, could it be something like O-L-N? Again, I cannot see a double consonant working at what we've got in the beginning. So it would have to be more like this. But again, I mean, what would you put there? Foolin is not a word. So that doesn't seem like it works. And doing something, yeah, that just wouldn't work anyway. So what the heck? So maybe, I thought I already looked at something like this. Yeah, that wouldn't do anything. And then the other way of looking at it would have been something like that. That didn't seem to work. I I'm really not seeing anything useful here. And I know I'm probably missing something quite obvious that everybody else may see. What could this be? I still feel like there could be a Y in here somewhere, kind of throwing things off. Like if it was something along those lines. But again, I can't think of any words that would fit this type of structure. And the N would have to be either first or second in this condition. Now, if they don't take null, they're not going to take noli. But noli isn't a word. But null is, even though Merriam-Webster doesn't seem to think so. Man, I'm really stumped. I wish I could just guess null, even though it's saying it's not a word, just so I can throw something out there. So what are my options then? What are my options? Now I could just do woolly. It's a throwaway word, but what it does, it'll check for the double O. It'll check another position for the L. It'll check for a possibility of a Y. And technically it'll check for a W. Because I don't have any other ideas here. I'm just going to hit that. So there is not a double O, but there is the L in that position, and there's no Y. So it has to be a double consonant in the beginning, which I just couldn't think of anything that would work there. What the heck can this be? So the N is either going to be last, so we come into this situation, which I didn't really think was all that good. Because I still don't see anything with that. Or we get into something like this. Again, I would have said null, but null doesn't work. Now, we still don't know if it's not a double L. Is there something is there a word I don't know of, first off? Or then we'd have possibility of N first. Something like this. I'm kind of worried that's going to be like some weird combination of letters, like Najon or something like that. That's a word. You know, some sort of Scandinavian type word that's actually become part of the English language or something like that. Or I could just be really blind and not seeing something that's quite obvious. Wow, I don't know. I do not know. I can't even think of a guess, which is the worst part. Is there something that I just haven't processed the possibility of? Like a double letter of some sort that I hadn't thought of? Or is it just a word I don't know? Or is it a word that I know that I'm just being too stupid to see at the moment? Like how can this word end? OL what? F doesn't really seem to do anything that I can see. Then G. No. I mean K, but Z doesn't really seem to work. X wouldn't work. V wouldn't work. Man. I really am lost on this one. I just don't see it. What could this possibly be? I mean, the only thing that seems to make any sense is a GN. Like I said, null it doesn't want to take, even though I disagree with it. I mean, I could just type in every single one and see if it works, but I don't think we're going to find that. You know, that's kind of silly. We know there's no double vowel. We know there's no Y. So we only have consonants to work with. And none of these consonants look like they can go together as a double in my brain. I mean, this maybe one of the letters I'm just not thinking about somehow works. Like a Q. I really can't think of anything. This is unusual. Once I see this word, I'm probably gonna like smack myself in the head. Now, it's not. Have I been thinking of the word null wrong the entire time? I have. I swear there's a way to spell null with a GN. Now, I believe it's like a mythical creature, but I thought it was GN. If it's KN. It's KN. What the hell? I've had it for like the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I just didn't know how to spell. Well, there you go. I figured it out eventually. That went longer than it should have, because I don't know where my brain was working with that one. I just could not spell that word properly, I guess. So anyway, hope you guys all enjoyed that one, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.